What do you do with "I broke my arm before the fight" conversation? What do you do with that? So I'm pausing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Now, you're going to be hardcores if you do. I'm going to be very curious. If you leave me comments here and if you share this video, I'll be very curious. But Umar Nurmagomedov, I'm going to tell the story the way that I understand the story. And it's important to note that perhaps I don't understand the story. Now, but that's the key to this whole thing. The key to the whole thing that I'm about to tell you is there's just a little bit of wiggle room for lost in translation. Now, I'm pretending a little bit because I am not lost in translation. Here's what happened. Umar revealed he broke his arm. In fact, he went into detail. Now, this is the kind of detail that an FBI interrogator would like. But he went into detail over the broken arm that his manager, Ali, who knew he had a broken arm, said, "You can't take this fight. We can go fight the guy, but we can't fight the guy this quickly because you have the broken arm." This whole conversation happens. And I was a little bit relieved by it. I like it. I mean, if I'm going to know about a guy's injury, I don't need to know about a guy's injury. But if I'm going to know, watch how I do this. See if this is cool. Are you ready? Did that look cool? Most people do it in two. I did it with one pull. Made a different sound. Haha, it's badass. Could you guys see that? That was badass the way I just did that. One quick pull and it goes, made a totally different noise. Okay. How are you going to get through a commission? Now, I like when a guy, if you're going to give us an injury report, I would rather just not know. I would rather look at you all as Supermen. Right? But I found out that perhaps I was the only one whose weakness was kryptonite. But if I am going to know about an injury, go ahead and let me know before the fight, because it's uncommon. And after the fight, I don't like it either way. If you lost, you're putting that out clearly as an excuse. We would understand. I just don't like it. If you win, I feel like it's more mean. All of a sudden, it's not an excuse, but you beat a guy up and you did it with one arm. I don't like to know, but if I've got to know, I want to know ahead of time. But when I do know ahead of time, how can I get through the commission? Are you guys staying with me? My big move threw me off. Are you guys with me? So Umar, who's about to fight for a world championship in a co-main spot, representing the first family that might have a claim to first family of the sport over Gracie. They're not there. Gracie is still the first family, but the Nurmagomedovs are hot on that trail. And he says he's got a broken arm. You cannot fight with a broken arm. Wouldn't matter how tough you are. Would not matter. You cannot fight with a broken arm. They cannot put damaged goods in an unarmed fight. Unarmed combatant. So they've now taken this interview down. This very interview that I'm telling you about, that existed when I went to bed last night, does not exist anymore. It is gone. Now, I'm okay with that. That's where that should be. That should be gone and chalked up to a misunderstanding, of which it would be had there not been the extra detail. Right? Like, it's a little hard to get lost when there's the extra detail added to the story that he took the time to add to this story. So, Michael Bisping had done one just yesterday. These two kind of went right in line with each other. Now, Michael Bisping is done and Michael Bisping is retired, but he was putting out a story that he was having to get around the athletic commissions. And I will just tell you straight up, I don't know of anyone that's actually ever done that. Like, there are not stories behind the scenes of guys getting around the athletic commission. And if you did play that game, boy, you'd have to be good. Because the athletic commissions are good. And there's just multiple barriers. You need board certified and then fill in the blank to sign off with his medical number. And they do have a department that follows up on damn near all of those. Like, if you think that you're going to get away by putting down a number or forging a signature, not only will you not get away with it, you will never fight again if you attempt to lie to an athletic commission with a dishonest protocol. And they'll do it for each one. You're going to do that with your eyes. You're going to do it with your CAT scan. You're going to do it with your MRI. You're going to do just a basic physical. But you're going to have all of these different doctors. And yes, they actually follow up to make sure that that doctor exists and that he saw you on that day. It's very, very thorough. And that's just before you can get there. Now, once you actually once that is all done and stamped and you are licensed, you are not clear. The athletic commission will then come in and talk to you. And they'll do a number of things. They'll get the thing and they'll test you here and they'll have you get down a certain squat so they can check the cartilage in your knees. Just for example, very common one to drop down into they call it like a duck position. And the fighters never know why they have to get in that position. They can never figure out why they're doing that because you won't be able to get back up once you get there if you've got meniscus injuries, which is one of the most common things. The guys, when they come out, will file a claim against, just sharing with you, but they'll do an eye exam right there. And then after everything, they will ask you man to man. That's how they'll ask you man to man. That's not how a judge will look at that. He will look at that as privileged athlete versus government official. Well, he will ask you man to man within all of these forms and all of these protocols. And me being as thorough as I can think to be, is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that these tests didn't reveal? Is there any ailment that you need to tell us? And I know Michael Bisping had some fun with the commissions, and I know Michael Bisping, he had the... It's not as though Michael isn't... That happened. That's exactly the way that it happened. I'm just sharing for you that it's very uncommon. I don't know, even through rumor, of anyone that's ever cheated in athletic commission and got away with it. And I could tell you a few stories from right at the turn, about 1999 to 2001. I could tell you a group of guys that tried. A lot of time with the doctor stamp, it is literally that. It is a stamp. They'll have all your forms and they'll boom. The secretary will just crush down a stamp on there and then moves on. Because you got to have your medical number. And you got to have the name, but it's got to be spelled correctly. Then you got to have the address of the facility. All of those things have to be in one. So it's just very easy, boom, to take a stamp. And Washington State, but a group of guys had gone in and someone got a stamp. As simple as that. Someone went and paid $9.99 and had a stamp made, and it was Dr. Romanowski, and it was signed on. And they got away with it. They got away with it many times. And the only reason they got caught is this guy that had the stamp was so proud of him damn self that he starts doing all the fighters, and the athletic commission starts realizing y'all went to the same doctor on the same day at the same address for absolutely everyone. It was one of these things where they're going through the forms. They got 20 guys, and of the 20, 14 have seen the same doctor on the same day at the same location. That's how they got caught on that. But do you want to know who they are? Do you want to know the trainers of those guys? Do you want to know the managers of the guys? Do you want to know those guys' names? Because you won't. None of them that were caught doing that, none of them ever fought again. It cost them their career.